Trying to launch a monetary network, you need it to be ethically sound. It needs to be sound ethics, sound engineering, sound economics. The economic policy of Bitcoin is 21 million coins unchanged. How much of that asset will there be in 100 years or 1,000 years? And can anybody change it? And what you really want is for nobody to be able to change it. And you want to know that you're buying 1/21 millionth of all the economic energy in the network. What you want is a very distributed network, and you want incentives for every nation state and every type of actor to build massively powerful centers. Do you want to trust all your money in a bank run by 3 people that you know? Or do you want to trust all your money in a bank that's collectively owned by humanity where nobody in the human race can possibly hack the bank? There are hundreds of challenges that the human race has. Pride and ego. I did it for my son. I did it for my family. I did it for my God. I did it because I was sent to do it. I did it because I was interested. I did it because it was cool. There are all these things. People all have these good ideas and these intents that end up going horribly awry. And there's a million examples of them. I don't think that's going away. So I don't think Bitcoin fixes that. It won't stop wars. It won't stop governments from collapsing. It won't stop bad medicine. It won't stop bad ideology. It won't stop criminal behavior. So it's not the solution to that. It's just the solution to bad money.
Here is Michael Saylor, the chairman and CEO of MicroStrategy, describing Bitcoin as the world's greatest sound money, emphasizing its primary objective of countering bad money. In this interview, Saylor made a profound statement asserting that Bitcoin is the preeminent example of sound money. He highlighted its unparalleled characteristics as a reliable store of value and its decentralized nature, setting it apart from any other asset. Even though with recent market drawdowns linked to the MTGOX Bitcoin payments and Germany's sell-off, Bitcoin remains resilient. Don't miss out on this in-depth analysis. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on market trends and more insightful content. Your engagement helps our channel grow and brings you more valuable information on the future of Bitcoin and digital assets. Thank you and enjoy the video.
You could think of money as economic energy, just like you could think of fat as organic energy. You eat a lot, you store fat, and now if you have to go without food for 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're not going to starve to death. If you can't form fat cells, you're type 1 diabetic. A type 1 diabetic can't store organic energy, and they dwindle, and they will starve to death. It's a just horrific disease. Being able to store fat isn't a bad thing. We think it's a bad thing, but actually for most of human history, right, the number one reason you died is you starved to death. So it seems pretty intelligent that when you get excess energy, you can store it and hold it for a while. Now let's imagine a person as an economic diabetic. Where do you see that? In a society where the currency is collapsing and hyperinflation, the Weimar Republic, famous example. So you work, I pay, in Zimbabwe, they had it. In Venezuela, they had it. In Nigeria, they're getting it right now. You work, I give you $100, and the $100 buys you 4 meals, but then in 3 months, it buys you 1 meal. And then in 12 months, it buys you 1 soda. And in 24 months, it buys you nothing. Okay, so now you've got a problem. You can't store economic energy. So what happens when the currency dies or the money dies? Well, the society gets ripped back to Stone Age barter. What it means is you can't save anything. And also it means that the unit of account breaks down, so you can't trade. It's like, okay, you have bullets and I have soap. How many bars of soap for bullets? And how do you figure that out? Give me a chicken and I'll give you, a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. Things get very complicated. The civilization just gets ripped back to Stone Age barter. When that happens, all the factories break down. Like imagine trying to trade with your friend for dentistry work. Or, you just be your own dentist. Try that one. Be your own doctor. Take out your appendix. So the money breaks down. The civilization breaks down. That's the danger. But normally in most modern societies, The money doesn't break down as a medium of exchange. It breaks down as a store of value. If you have some money, you can't just store the money. If you want to keep your economic energy, you have to gamble it or invest it. You have to speculate with it, or, you worked your entire life, you have a certain amount of retirement, and now if you store it in the bank, it'll be worth nothing. So you have to go and invest it in the stock market. But if you pick wrong, you lose it. So we basically force people to be gamblers, speculators, or hedge fund managers if the money's broken. And the money is broken. So what is the significance of Bitcoin? Well, let me say it a different way. You just take your money, take everything you earn, you buy Bitcoin, and you wait, and it goes up 20 to 40% a year forever. Or you take your money and you invest it in a bank account and you get 3% after tax, and everything goes up 10 to 15% a year in price, and you just get poorer and poorer. Or what are you going to do? Buy GameStop at the right time? Are you buy a building, run an Airbnb? I force you to go, and forcing you to be a hedge fund manager is horrifically inefficient for the society. It's just as inefficient as saying, okay, be your own dentist and doctor, right? If the medical system was broken, you have to be your own doctor. It's not good for society. What happens? People die 20 years early is what happens. So when you have to be your own banker or be your own hedge fund manager, what happens is you just get poor, or you lose faith in the future. If I told you your money was going to be worthless in 36 months, what would you do with it? You would spend it. What if I told you your money's going to be worthless next Monday? You would go out this weekend, make a decadence weekend, and you would just blow it all. You would buy anything. Things you don't need. It's like, if it's for sale, I'm just buying it. So Bitcoin actually solves the problem by saying, well, what if you just had a money that the government couldn't debase, the bank couldn't steal, that would last forever?
Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, supports Michael Saylor's analysis of Bitcoin's use case. In a recent CNBC interview, Fink echoed Saylor's sentiments, expressing his belief in Bitcoin. Once a skeptic, Fink has since become an advocate, embracing Bitcoin and acknowledging its potential.
As you know, I was a skeptic. Yes. I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
As Bitcoin rallies beyond $60,000 after a sharp decline that saw prices drop to $53,000, it becomes clear that Bitcoin is a remarkably resilient asset class. Many experts predict that it will reach $100,000 by the end of 2024. Now let's return to more clips from Michael Saylor.
Well, if someone came along and launched something that was more popular with intelligent people, then I guess it wouldn't be working. But of course, Bitcoin's been growing first 200% a year, then 100% a year. Right now, it's still growing 40 to 50% a year. So it's a monetary virus that's spreading, and it's extracting the capital from all other capital assets, right? So the proof that Bitcoin is winning is the performance of Bitcoin is 5x the performance of the S&P index. And Bitcoin is outperforming gold, outperforming the S&P, outperforming every individual stock, outperforming bonds, outperforming cash, outperforming real estate. What do you see? You see intelligent people with money voting with their money, and what they're doing is they're selling the weak assets, buying the strong asset.
And why Bitcoin over Ethereum?
If you're trying to launch a monetary network, you need it to be ethically sound. It needs to be sound ethics, sound engineering, sound economics. The economic policy of Bitcoin is 21 million coins unchanged. Very difficult to change, extremely conservative. In fact, no one would ever think you could change the supply, which is transparent. And even the second order economics, the bandwidth of the network is the subject of bitter fights. The block size wars was a fight over whether or not the second order scarcity should change and whether the bandwidth should change. And as the network gets bigger, it becomes much more conservative economically. So now it's nearly impossible to change the economic policies of Bitcoin. And if you compare that to Ethereum changed the economic policies with every hard fork. And so it's changed it half a dozen times. And so economically, the real question is how much of that asset will there be in 100 years or 1,000 years? And can anybody change it? And what you really want is for nobody to be able to change it. And you want to know that you're buying 1/21 millionth of all the economic energy in the network 1,000 years from now. So all of the hardware, all of the semiconductor technology, all of the electricity that's being used to secure the network disappears. Now the network is secured simply by the staking of a token with economic value. But you're going to lose Moore's law, because if you have to stake $50 billion of tokens, you can't make the $50 billion of tokens worth 500 million and keep the same amount of security over time. But you see with Moore's law and with a silicon ratchet, you can actually create $50 billion of security with $500 million of hardware over time. So the engineering of Bitcoin plugs you into semiconductor technology, to Moore's law, to electricity. And what it also does is it creates this very interesting dynamic where if you have billions of dollars of Bitcoin in Manhattan, your Bitcoin's being defended by Bitcoin mining off of hydroelectric power in Bhutan. You might be getting defended, the network is defended by a Bitcoin mine running on stranded natural gas in Kazakhstan. And so if your money is only defended at a bank in New York and the mayor of New York wants to seize your money, he just takes it. What you want is a very distributed network, and you want incentives for every nation state and every type of actor to build massively powerful centers. If you see these Bitcoin mining centers, they're 100 megawatt, 200 megawatt data centers, and you think, well, what would incentivize someone to build such a massively powerful defense mechanism? And the answer is somebody's got a dam with water flowing over the dam and no one wants to buy their electricity. And so they've decided to build a Bitcoin defense center in order to monetize the running water on their dam 8,000 miles away. So there's a genius to that engineering, because it's continually expanding, continually growing, continually becoming more efficient. And it anchors the Bitcoin network into the electrical network and into the technology network of the world. And it incentivizes good semiconductor engineers to be thinking all the time about how to create more efficient defense mechanisms to keep a hacker from hacking the network. And that just takes us to the last point, which is ethics. If you want an ethical monetary network, like do you want to trust all your money in a bank run by 3 people that you know? Or do you want to trust all your money in a bank that's collectively owned by humanity where nobody in the human race can possibly hack the bank? Bitcoin is a system so diffuse that no one entity or person is systemically important or influential, right? Whereas Ethereum or any of these other proof of stake protocols, if there's a company, if there's a founder, if there's an engineering team, if you can identify them, then they can change it. And the ability to change the network undermines the integrity and the security and the immutability of the network. And if you study history, is don't trust anybody. Don't trust yourself, right? Like you could say, Michael, would you rather invest in a network where you control it? I'm like, no, right? I'm the weak link, right? We're all the weak link at the end of the day. So you want to put your energy and your support behind a network which transcends any institution. That's what secures you. That's what makes it, safe and economically sound.
There you have it. Michael Saylor has shared his analysis on why Bitcoin is crucial for addressing the issues with defective money. He also discussed Bitcoin's unique characteristics as an immutable store of value that no other digital asset possesses. What are your thoughts on Michael Saylor's interview and the outlook for Bitcoin? How do you feel about Larry Fink's evaluation of Bitcoin and the current stance of the BlackRock CEO on Bitcoin? Please share your comments and observations in the comment section below. Subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.